Is it possible to manifest anything you like in 7 days? Well, of course it is. Now, to make this easier for you, I've distilled this down into a 3-step process. But before I get into those 3 steps, I want to give you this one bit of advice. Pick something that's believable. If we pick $1 billion, I want to manifest $1 billion or $1 million, whatever. Is that believable to you? When Jim Carrey wrote a check to himself for $10 million, that was believable to him at the time because people in his industry were making that kind of money. So pick something believable. I'm going to manifest a date with this specific person or just a date. I'm going to manifest the perfect house for me. I'm going to manifest $10,000. I mean, that's believable, right, to the average person. So pick something believable that could very well manifest in 7 days, actually, right? So that's kind of the bit of advice that I would give you. Be realistic about it, right? Okay, so here's the 3 steps, and I'm going to list them off really fast, like I usually do, and then we will go into greater detail about each one of them. So the first one is going to be to write out what it is that you want to manifest in present tense 3 times. The second step is going to be to attach a feeling to it, an emotion in your heart, and the third one is what they call be as if. You've heard people say do as if. It's be as if. You have to be and embody energetically the version of you that already has it. So let's go into greater detail into these 3 steps. Do this every day for 7 days. And if you really believe that these things are going to manifest for you, then it has to. It has to. Again, this is proven science. We're way over the debate about whether or not the law of attraction is real, whether or not manifesting is real. We're kind of at the point now where it's like, okay, well, what are we going to do with it, right? So listen carefully. So number 1 was write out your desire in the present tense and pick a notebook that you really like. Or maybe you're not picky. I'm not picky. Some people I've noticed it's a thing. You know, if it's important to you, you can pick a special notebook just for this. I like to pick a clean one. It could be like a plain old spiral notebook, but I usually pick like a new one, or I tear all the old pages out. Something new that hasn't really been used yet. That's kind of my thing. Now, write out your desire in the present tense. For example, I have $10,000, right? I have that new house. I have that new job. I have that new relationship. I'm enjoying spending this $10,000. I just paid off my credit cards with this $10,000, right? Whatever it is. And be specific. Be specific about what it is. And if you're not sure what to ask for, you could even ask for clarity, and you'll be brought experiences in your reality that will show you what it is that you want. God is a lot like that. God has got no problem showing you who you really are. So you could even ask for clarity. So that's number 1. Write out your desire in the present tense. I found the perfect house, right? I found this great boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever. Maybe you're trying to meet new people, friends. I've got a great group of close-knit friends, right? Stuff like that. Okay, the second one is to attach a feeling to it. So how would you feel if you're not sure how you would feel? This is the step where you're going to create an emotional response. How would you feel if you had the thing that you wanted? And I want you to focus on your heart center, and it helps. Again, this is a heart math technique. I'm often pointing this out on these videos because it works so well. To touch your heart chakra while you cultivate an emotional experience. How would I feel if I got a check for $10,000, maybe some insurance money or something? Maybe I won some prize that I forgot I signed up for some prize, or I don't know, whatever it is, right? The IRS, they go, oh, I made a mistake. We made a mistake. They give you a check for 10 grand. And you're like, whoa, right? They figure out a mistake they made. I don't know, whatever it is. But that's the other thing. We're going to talk about that in a second. Is it's not your job to work out how, because this is the part where people often get stuck on how is it going to happen. Don't worry about that. Just how am I going to feel when it happens? Okay? So whatever that emotional experience would be, touch your heart chakra and cultivate that emotional experience. Wow, I found the perfect house. This is exciting. I can't wait to move in, right? Whatever it is. And this is why people do things like visualizations. It's so that you can cultivate an emotion. Because remember, the subconscious mind is your link to the divine matrix, to the field, right? To the universe that causes manifestation. That's why cultivating an emotional experience is so important. It's so powerful in this. Now, a quick note about the outcome. You don't need to know how, right? It's not your job to worry about how. How is the money going to show up? How is that job going to happen? How is finding the perfect relationship going to take place? It doesn't matter. It's not your job to work out how. You don't really need to do that. That's up to God. That's up to the universe, right? And it'll come through in the most unexpected ways, usually, you guys. It'll feel positively magical when it actually starts to come through. So you just focus on how it feels. There's all these different possible ways that something like that could happen for you. Okay, this is why they used to call this technology that we're discussing right here magic, because when it happens, you're like, son of a gun, how about that? Look at the way this thing took place. Wow, right? It feels positively magical. But that's not it. It's not magic. The field is simply amalgamating, right? It's turning solid. It's turning that wave into a particle, right? Like the double slit experiment. All you have to do is just stay focused on that field and something will emerge. And that is exactly how the double slit experiment works. That's one of the things that proves the law of attraction manifesting, right, scientifically. This is legit technology. You are a holographic being. Well, you are consciousness living in a holographic body, in a holographic universe. So where are you directing that consciousness? Where does that observational power go? So you're going to focus it on this emotion of the experience. Now, each time, and you're going to do this every day, remember, steps 1 and steps 2. Step 1, write out what your desire is in the present tense. Each one of these 3 times, you're going to do this every day for 7 days. You're going to write it down and you're going to pause for a minute, for 60 seconds, and you're going to, while touching your heart, cultivate this emotion. The mind is going to start spinning. I don't know, how's that going to happen? I got to do all these things. Just take your focus off of those types of thoughts and focus on cultivating the feeling of having it right now. That's all you got to do. Any of those thoughts of doubt, that's old physics. That's old Newtonian physics. That's all been debunked. Quantum physics is proving that this is real and it's not for you to worry about. You don't need to know how. So just take your focus off of that. I'm here feeling this emotion of having this amazing experience. I'm cultivating this emotion, touching your heart. Stay focused on that. Do that for 60 seconds. Feel that feeling. Okay? And then do that process 3 times. Do that process 3 times. Write it out. And then for 60 seconds, cultivate the feeling. How am I going to feel when I have this thing? Do that 3 times every day for 7 days. Okay, here's step number 3. And this one is very, very important. It's a very, very important one, you guys. Being and embodying the version of you that already has it. Being and embodying the version of you that already has it. Be as if, feel energetically, how would I feel What would my life be like emotionally if I had this thing, right? So much so that your subconscious mind can't tell the difference. So as you're going about your day, you're in where you live right now. Say you're trying to find the perfect house. So wherever you live right now, maybe when you're doing the dishes or something in the kitchen, wait a minute, stop right there. I'm going to imagine that I'm in my new kitchen. How would I feel if I was in my new house and I'm looking out the window and there's this beautiful garden view or whatever it is, right? Being and embodying the version of you that already has it. This works if you follow all of these steps very, very carefully. If you be as if all throughout the day in your day-to-day life, it must manifest. It has to. It can't not. So we did steps 1 and 2 so that you could familiarize yourself with what it would feel like emotionally. Now this is the part where we take that emotion that you were cultivating in those exercises and putting it into action. So throughout your day, being and embodying the version of yourself that already has it. Now that you know what that feels like from your exercises, now you're carrying that energy with you throughout the day. And just keep doing that. Do that for 7 days, and you're going to start to notice things popping up into your experience. At minimum, reminders, things that look familiar to you, things that look like clues along the path. It'll start to happen within 7 days. And if the house, let's just say, hasn't quite shown up yet, do it for another 7-day cycle, and you'll start to see even more clues. And if the house still hasn't shown up yet, do it for another 7-day cycle. And then you're going to start to see even bigger clues, up to and including a business card from a realtor. You see how that works? This is the part that trips a lot of people up. Okay? So again, you're doing it for 7 days, and you might start to see this neighborhood that catches your eye, or a for sale sign on a house that looks like the house you want. And it happens at a really synchronistic time, and you're like, wait a minute, maybe that's the house, and maybe that wasn't the house. But that's not the point. Something happened after 7 days. There were clues, there were little crumbs, breadcrumbs along the trail that were dropped for me. Gosh, that's really exciting. This is working. I'm going to do it again for another 7-day cycle. And at the end of the second 7-day cycle, that's when you run into a real estate agent who goes, I've got just the perfect house for you. Do you see how that works? And then maybe after 7 days, something else happens, or maybe the actual manifestation happens. So be on the lookout for those breadcrumbs along the trail to your manifestation. 2, after 7 days, you will start to see something going on. People, resources, experiences having to do with what you're trying to manifest. So I'm just going to go do another 7-day cycle, and another 7-day cycle, and another 7-day cycle until the actual end result manifests. And remember, I'm not worried about the outcome. I'm going to let God do God's job. It's not my job to work out how, but gosh, this sure is a lot of fun. All along the way, all the clues and the breadcrumbs and the magic. Have a lot of fun with it. Play with your manifestation experience. I hope you found this video helpful. Thank you very much for watching.